Well, hello. Today is Tuesday, November 26, 2019. My name is Angela Hooper-Menifield, and this is your HR Moment with Menifield and Associates. So, today is Tuesday. It actually feels a lot later in the week. I think that's because so many of us are putting steps into motion to be off a few days this week. Definitely Thursday, if not both Thursday and Friday. And so I just left a excellent discovery meeting with a client I've worked with before who is now in another organization. And as we were discussing things, some of the challenges the staff is experiencing, as well as opportunities that we could leverage with the group, this person said something that really resonated with me. And it also made me think about even some of the discussions I'd recently had with my SHRM class or my SHRM prep class. And that is just talking a little bit about our values. You know, when we talk about culture and we hear these statements a lot where organizations or people within organizations will share that, it's not a really good culture, or we're trying to change the culture or improve the culture. The list goes on and on as to how it's actually expressed. And so the question then becomes, well, how did this culture, begin, and how does it manifest itself? Well, I'm a firm believer, and if any of you ever watch Ayana Van Zandt, she speaks of it often when she talks about, the fish rots from the head, right? And so when we're looking at leadership, and the highest level of leadership is self-leadership, and, in doing leadership development, we talk about leadership lids, right? So what is the lid? The lid is, where you're capped. And so how we express that is explaining that your organization will never be able to outperform the lid of the leader. And so all of this just intertwines together, and it helped me to see in listening to her how it is she's done a really great job of expressing to her team what does she value and what's important to her. And then as a result of that, setting the expectations that those values are carried out in the day-to-day operations of the activities that they, perform for their stakeholders within, as far as, collectively as a team. And so one of the first questions I'd like to ask you is, have you ever sat down and really thought into what is it you value? You're the leader, you're the team lead, you're the supervisor, manager, committee head, whatever those things are. What do you value? What are your values? Is it transparency, honesty, professionalism, sound ethics? What are the things that you value? So that's where it starts first. You have to have an awareness, again, lining up to the premise that the highest level of leadership is self-leadership. First, you have to know you and understand you. And what is that message that you're walking in? Because often people will tell me they value things, but as we dig a little deeper, we can see some discrepancy in how that's being executed. So a perfect example of that is I've worked with a team leader, and they shared to me that they valued family. However, in how they manage the team and approve leave and allow people to be absent, the behavior is not lining up with what they say they value. And so, again, there are a couple of things here. First, we have to ask ourselves, what do we value? And then what does our behavior suggest we value? Now, is it possible that you could really value something and your behavior not line up with it on occasion? Of course. But that's also where that law of the mirror, right, shows up, because you have to hold the mirror up and then also have people in that inner circle that could say, excuse me, the behavior that we're seeing right now is not in alignment or in agreement with what we say is important here. People have to also be able to have freedom of speech. So the first step is understanding, what do you value? And we can go through some exercises and help you figure that out. But what's important to you? And then expressing that in individual coaching sessions, group trainings, posting it visually, right? Because people are also visual learners. But here's the key component. You and your team need to be able to express clearly, explicitly, and without hesitation what are the core values that we operate around here in our organization. Because that's also an indicator that not only that the message is clear, but it's understood and expected from everyone. So, understanding what you value and then, transcending, sharing that information, expressing it to the team, and helping them to understand what those things are and putting importance on them. So, if growth is really important to you as an organization, I should be able to see somewhere when I look at the end of year expenditures that there was an investment in growth. When I look at the calendars of the people who work there, growth is scheduled, is regular, is routine. Otherwise, again, there's disharmony between what you say you value and what you do. Now, in addition to expressing it to the team and ensuring that everybody understands it, again, we have to model it. And when there are behaviors that are not in alignment with that, acknowledge it and then correct it. People need to understand what the expectations are of them. And if by chance not having these values are deal breakers, then what does that look like, right? So, expressing it, understanding what it is for you first, expressing it to your team, and then modeling it. So, but you have to share this information. It can't be like the best kept secret. So these things are just really important to me. But when I ask other people what's important to you or what's important to the leadership or how do we make leadership decisions, the response can't be, we don't know. So again, if people don't know, that's okay, but we have to educate them. I've done a lot of workshops and trainings recently, and that's a common thing I ask people. Like, talk to me. What is your value? What are your values? What's the vision? What's the mission? And more times than not, nobody can answer any of these questions. So it starts with you as the leader of the organization to first express what it is that matters to you, or the leader of the team, the supervisor. What's important? What are you looking for? And then what does that look like? A perfect example of a miscommunication is there was a young lady I was coaching when I was in Missouri, and we talked a little bit about people who were ethical. And I came to understand from listening to her that she found her supervisor untrustworthy and ethical. I asked her why, because I'm listening to hear if there was a time maybe the supervisor lied to her or maybe misrepresented some information. It was basically based on the fact that often she would give suggestions or give input, and he would respond with things like, I'll get back to you, or let me look into that, and he never did. So after that built up for a period of time, she decided he wasn't ethical. So again, I don't know that I would have arrived at that same conclusion, because that's really not the point of this illustration. The point of the illustration is it's beyond telling people what the words are. You have to go the extra mile and express to the people, what does this look like in real time? So what does ethical behavior look like? What does transparency look like? What does professionalism? Because again, my definition of what's professional and yours may be totally different. And so we could be operating off of the same words when we talk about what we value as an organization, but the way that it looks and how it is carried out could be totally different. And that's where so many of our disagreements and misunderstandings happen. So having clarity in what it is that's important to you is the first step. Then expressing and articulating it to your team with clarity and illustrations and demonstrating what that behavior is in real action. And then last but not least, living it. You have to live your message. What we say often on the John Maxwell team, which I'm a part of, is first we learn it, right? So we grow ourselves. Then we live it, so it becomes part of us. And we model those behaviors. And then last, we lead it. So we pass it on, we carry it, we give it to other people. So that's our HR moment for today on how to share your values to your team. We'll be back tomorrow. And last but not least, I do again heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you that took any time over the last 5-6 weeks and listened to my weekly radio spots on business business news radio. It was a great experience for me and I really enjoyed it, but I more importantly appreciated your support, your encouragement, the text messages, your ahas and revelations. You know, that's why we do what we do, those of us who are in this space. It's really not about us. It's if I can have impact or do anything to offer support to other people, then that's what I want to do. So I hope this HR moment has added value today. I love to hear your questions, your thought, and your feedback. But anyway, appreciate you. Until tomorrow, have an awesome day. And again, my name is Angela Hooper-Menifield. Take care. Bye.